Hi, if you are preparing for FP&A interviews, this is one question you have to be ready for. Walk me through how you would update a forecast for your company. Let me repeat that. Walk me through how you would update a forecast for your company. And honestly, a lot of candidates mess this up. Some give a very generic answer, others jump straight into Excel and miss the bigger picture. If you really want to stand out as someone who knows what they are doing, in this video, I will be sharing a simple three-step framework that will help you answer this question like a pro. By the way, I was looking at my YouTube analytics and I realized 80% of who watch this channel regularly haven't subscribed yet. If you have ever enjoyed any of our videos and found them valuable, could you do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button? It helps this channel way more than you realize. The bigger this channel gets, the more we can reinvest in content and more FP&A expert guests we can bring on for you. On a quick side note, if you are serious about FP&A, you need real world practical FP&A skills. 8 out of 10 CFOs says that it's tough to find good FP&A talent. And that's exactly why we created the CGFPA Certified Global FP&A Professional Program. It is a 6-month in-depth FP&A certification designed to help you become more confident in your FP&A role. Visit our website www.fpnaprofessionals.com. If that sounds like something you need, the links are in the description. Do check it out. The interviewers may not always ask this question in that way. Here are some of the other ways this question might actually show up in an interview. How do you approach updating a forecast? What process do you follow when revising revenue and expense forecast? Can you explain how you would update the forecast based on the new actuals? How would you go about adjusting the forecast at the end of a quarter? What steps do you take to ensure the accuracy of the updated forecast? If revenue trends change mid-year, how would you reflect that in your forecast? Tell me how you would collaborate with business partners to update a forecast. What inputs and data points do you consider when updating forecasts? How do you ensure stakeholder buy-in when revising forecasts for the rest of the year? No matter how they ask this question, there is a clear way to approach it. And here is my three-step process to get it right every time. Alright, let's start with step 1, which is updating the preliminary forecast. This is where I pull together all the latest data and put together a first cut of the forecast. First, I look at the actuals. Say, for example, quarter 1 has just closed. Now, if my previous forecast was what we called a 2 plus 10 version, meaning 2 months of actuals and 10 months of forecast, now that March month is done, this would become the plus 9 version, meaning 3 months of actuals and 9 months of forecast. So I would replace March month's prior forecast numbers with March actual numbers and then build the new 3 plus 9 forecast version. Then I'll take the Q1 actuals and compare them to both the prior forecast and the budget to see how we are tracking. For example, the revenue is already 5% below plan, let's say because of some customers delayed onboarding. This is a red flag I need to factor in for the remaining 9 months forecast. I would reach out to my business partners like sales, marketing, HR, and operations and gather all the necessary updates. For example, I will check with my sales team if there are any big deals about to close or getting delayed. I will check with HR if hiring plans we reviewed last month are still on track. Maybe we planned for 50 new hires, but now only 30 are happening due to market conditions. That would directly affect our expense forecast. From marketing, I would want to know if any major marketing campaigns are planned, postponed, or cancelled because that will also directly impact both my expenses and revenue forecast. Once I have all of this, I will update the key assumptions like volume, pricing, costs, and headcount. That gives me a refreshed forecast for the rest of the year. Alright, so now we have got a draft forecast, but that's only half the job done. Let us talk about the next step where how I review and challenge those numbers with the business to make sure that they make sense. Once I have the first draft ready based on the actuals and business inputs, I don't stop there. That is just the starting point. The next important step is to sit down with all the key stakeholders and review the numbers together. So I would set up meetings with sales, marketing, HR, and operations, and we will go line by line through the forecast. For example, if the sales has projected a big jump in revenue, I will ask them what is driving this increase. Are there specific deals in the pipeline? Have contracts been signed, or is this still under negotiation? Same thing with the marketing team. If they've added a large budget for a campaign, I would want to know, is this a confirmed spend? What is the expected ROI? The goal here is not to just collect numbers, but to challenge and understand the assumptions and make sure that they are realistic. Because sometimes business teams can either be too optimistic or too conservative. And it's our job in FP&A to find that balanced view. If sales team is being too aggressive or marketing is playing too safe, we need to step in and ensure that the forecast reflects the reality. Also, during these reviews, we discuss risks and opportunities, like what could go wrong that might bring revenues down, what unexpected opportunities could boost our numbers. And at the end of the step, we have a more validated and aligned forecast, one that business understands and owns, not just a finance only number. And of course, I always review this consolidated forecast with the CFO to align on the big picture, walk them through the key changes, and highlight risks or opportunities that they care about. Sometimes the CFO may ask me questions, challenge some of the parts of the forecast, ask for what if scenarios, or want to dig into the business drivers. But by the end of this, we will have a well vetted forecast that has been reviewed both by the business leaders and finance leadership, ready for consolidation. Once we have aligned the business teams and the CFO, now comes the final piece, bringing everything together and making it official. Once I've got the reviewed and agreed upon numbers from all the teams, my next job is to bring it all together into one consolidated company wide forecast. Here, I make sure that everything ties up together. For example, if the HR says that we are hiring 30 new people, does that properly reflect in the headcount and the salary cost? If the marketing team is running a big campaign, is that showing up in the expense forecast? And are those campaigns expected to impact revenues as sales team projected? So it's all about connecting the dots and making sure that the story holds together. Then comes the validation. I go through the numbers to check for any errors, broken links, or assumptions that don't make any sense. I also ensure that revenues, costs, and margins align properly, and that there is no surprise when leadership sees the final numbers. Once everything looks good, I would lock the forecast and upload the final forecast into the system. Whether you're using Excel or budget tools like Anaplan, Oracle, or whichever tool your company is using. Finally, I would prepare a management review pack. This is where we summarize the key highlights of the updated forecast. What change has happened since the last forecast? How are we tracking against the budget? What are the key risks and opportunities ahead? This reporting pack helps the leadership quickly understand where we stand and what actions might be needed. So that's how I would approach updating a forecast, from gathering data to reviews to final consolidation and reporting. Quick question: how often does your company update forecast? Is it monthly, quarterly? Drop it in the comments below. I would love to hear. If you want to dive deeper into this topic, check out our detailed webinar on the forecast cycle. Also, grab the free FP&A interview prep guides and resources. Links are in the description below. And hey, if this video helped you, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends who are preparing for FP&A interviews. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.